prima di tutto grazie dell'intervista e della possibilità.
Okay.
C'è una cosa che mi ha colpito. In Animals, dopo aver raccontato i cani, le pecore, i maiali, lei provava questa sorta di riparo nell'amore, questo rifugio, il rifugio dai porci con le ali, dai pigs on the wing. Per certi versi anche qui c'è un amore che salva. Gli ultimi 3 brani sono 3 brani in cui l'amore in qualche modo può salvare dalla brutalità della vita, del mondo e dalla parte peggiore di noi. È curioso questa sua insistenza sull'amore che salva, catartico.
Yeah, well, there is no question in my mind but that if we are lucky enough to experience love in our lives, love for a woman or any romantic life and other kinds of love, it has a transcendental effect upon all aspects of our life. So it may be that we can open parts of ourselves within the context of a relationship with a woman, or I guess with a man, that improve our chances of being able to feel empathy for human beings in general, and so to understand, potentially to understand the predicament of others who are in situations less, where they're in danger or where their children might be in danger. And so it gives us more of a chance to express our energies in ways to empathize with and help other people rather than to engage in conflict with them, which is hugely important for all of us individually, but also potentially for the planet, which we're destroying at a great rate. And we need to put our energies into figuring out how to make life tenable for all the people of the planet, not just for the very few ones like Trump, who are powerful and wealthy and also crazy and damaged in a worrying way.
In The Final Cut, l'umanità rischiava di scomparire. Maybe the human race is run. Dentro Two Suns in the Sunset. In Amused to Death, prendendo riferimento al testo di Neil Portman, l'umanità rischiava di nuovo di scomparire come se fosse stata uccisa dal proprio divertimento. Se possibile, in questo suo nuovo album, nella sua ricognizione dell'umanità, è persino messa peggio di prima. Non c'è stato alcun miglioramento, ma addirittura lei fa una radiografia persino più impietosa di quanto già non lo fosse 25-34 anni fa. È una sensazione mia sbagliata?
That we're worse off now. You get that feeling, you say? Maybe in some ways we are, yeah. We certainly haven't made great strides to make things better. We're still attached to this idea that there is a conflict, that we know what it is, and that we can achieve an end to it by war. It appears that certainly in the last 25 years, well, maybe even since the end of the Second World War, no war or going to war has achieved any good result. And yet, it seems hard for us to be able to grapple with that idea and do anything. When I say us, I don't really mean us, because the people have grasped that. For instance, on February the 14th, 2003, 20 million people all over the world demonstrated in the streets to try and persuade our governments, but particularly the English government and the government of the United States, not to invade Iraq on the grounds that it was A, illegal, and B, there was no possible good outcome to that invasion. And of course, those 20 million people have been shown to have been entirely correct. Iraq is now a completely failed state. There is nothing on the horizon that suggests life will be livable in the region in the foreseeable future. But the lesson doesn't seem to have been learned. you know. So there's a huge interference now going on in Syria and other places. There's a lot of saber rattling with the Russians, and no good will come of it. And clearly the 20 million people who demonstrated would suggest that what would be a good idea would be to think things through and start to have conversations about things, understanding that it serves no purpose to accuse everybody over there of being the bad guys while we're the good guys, so that we can have a fight about it.
Lei più volte, anche nei suoi testi, ha citato e attaccato alcuni politici, White House, Maggie Thatcher, eccetera. Starebbe molto bene, immagino, in The Fletcher Memorial Home, Donald Trump.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be at home there.
Credo anch'io. Nella canzone Birds on a Gale, a un certo punto si legge: c'è posto per me nella storia. Si è mai chiesto se e quanto ci sarà posto nella storia per Roger Waters?
That's the lyric in that song has nothing to do with a place in history, in like the written history of anything. It has to do. The lyric says, "Is there a place in your story for me?"
Yeah, but
Okay, so
but do you think that there will be ci sarà spazio per lei nella storia? Parliamo di lei e della storia della musica, e pensa che ci sarà un posto?
I couldn't care less.
No.
I don't care.
Ok. Quando ad esempio uscì Amused to Death, grande disco, capolavoro, ma l'impatto fu buono ma non straordinario. Lei stesso sostiene che era ai livelli di Animals o The Wall, e io sono d'accordo. Le pesa il fatto che per molti lei sia anzitutto un ex Pink Floyd e poi Roger Waters?
Does it bother me? Well, the fact that I used to be in a pop group called Pink Floyd is neither here nor there, really, except it's important because it gives me some kind of a voice, I suppose. If I hadn't been in that group and that was successful, people might be less interested in the work that I do now. But I don't really care about those labels or about the history or whatever. People either get what I do or they don't get what I do. So people either understand or like the songs or are interested. People will either listen to this record or they won't listen to it. I prefer it if they do. I'm getting great reaction to this record and I'm really happy about that.
Okay.
I think Nigel did a great job producing it. I think it's a really good record. It says a lot of what I believe. The poem, Is This the Right Life We Really Want, which I wrote 8 years ago and I dipped into to find some ideas when we were in the middle of making this record. The fact that some of the monologue about the blacks and whites, Chicanos, Asians, or every type of, even folks from Guadeloupe, I never ever expected that to be anything other than a few lines in a very long rant that I wrote in 2008. So the fact that it's made it onto a gramophone record is good for me. I like it. I'm glad it's on the record because it's poetry, so it wasn't written as a lyric, and I don't think I would have ever been able to write a monologue. It's almost like rap because it's a dissertation. It's not. It doesn't come across like a normal lyric. It's sort of spoken. So I don't know. I'm happy about that.
Proprio in quel brano, Is This the Life We Really Want, ho avuto la sensazione che Godric abbia portato lei in territori musicali in qualche modo inesplorati, e quindi è stato bello il connubio tra lei e Godric, perché lì vi siete incontrati, c'è forse l'apice della vostra collaborazione.
Yeah, it's interesting that track, the music came before any lyric was written on it, and then I took the music already recorded away with me into the studio and sat and decided what the song was going to be and what it was about and how it worked, and it took me a long time because it's very difficult actually for me to attach lyrics to something, to music that already exists. the music came about by taking some chords from a different place and then writing a chord chart out. And at Nigel's insistence, Joey and Gus and Jonathan and I sat down in a room, and they gave me a bass guitar. And we went, okay, we're going to record this. All right, here are the chords. Ready? Go. And Joey counted us in. And so that is one take. That is one take of the four of us playing some music. So I only ever played that song once on the bass. And then we would listen to it, and I thought, actually, because I resisted it. I said, I don't want to do that. I'm not. And Nigel was very insistent, and I'm glad he was, because I went, wow, it's actually pretty good. It sounds really good. And then I had to figure out what it might be about and and that's when I started, well, hang on, what? And there was this old poem, and I thought, well, maybe I can use some of this, because I care about what's in this poem. I cared about it in 2008, and I care about it now. So that's how it became the song.
A proposito di basso e bassisti, è vero che è stato Eric Clapton durante The Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking a convincerla di quanto lei fosse anche bravo come bassista e che fino a quel momento lei fosse un po' insicuro delle sue qualità musicali?
Yeah, Eric did. When we were making Pros and Cons of Hitchhiking one day, when I was going, well, I don't really play, and he said, rubbish, you play, you're a great player. And I was surprised that he said that, and I was encouraged by it as well, because I'd never thought of myself really as an instrumentalist. Well, I do now. I know that I have my own style of playing the bass, which is somewhat idiosyncratic, but I know I'm all right. I can do it.
Le leggo una recensione che hanno fatto di lei, l'ha fatta un suo amico. Roger è un grande artista, un ossessivo totale e il sogno di ogni psichiatra. L'ha detto Bob Ezrin qualche decennio fa. Rispetto a quella definizione, ammesso che sia giusto, oggi Roger Waters è più sereno, è più tranquillo, è più felice, se si può usare questa parolaccia?
Yeah. If you're talking about when we made the wall, yeah, I'm definitely happier than I was then. I understand a lot more than I did then. I wouldn't necessarily, well, it doesn't matter. I haven't seen Bob for, 20 years, I suppose. It's been a long time.
Lei ha raccontato più volte, ha raccontato più volte che un veterano durante The Wall si è avvicinato a lei e le ha detto suo padre sarebbe fiero di lei, e lei si è commossa. Quanto ripensa a quelle parole? Quanto sono state importanti per lei?
Well, it was halfway through one of the wall shows. Yeah, this older guy came up to me and he put his hand out and he looked me in the eye and he said that. He said, "Your father would be proud of you." And it was a very moving moment. What it made me realize was that all these years later, my father had been dead for 70 years or something, that I could still be moved by my relationship with my dead father, that I've always needed to live up to his memory, because he was a brave man, and not just because he was a conscientious objector, which he was in 1939, so he refused to join the army, but that he then changed his mind when he decided that his politics trumped his Christianity and that he had to fight against the Nazis in the Second World War. So he was an heroic figure from my past, and he still means a lot to me, the memory of him. So, yeah, it meant a lot.
Mi duole ricordare due figure che non ci sono più, ma sono state molto importanti per la sua vita. Mi dice cosa le rimane anzitutto di Syd Barrett e di Richard Wright? Con il primo ha avuto un bellissimo rapporto, con il secondo c'è stato anche un momento di frizione alla fine degli anni 70, soprattutto. Cosa rimane in lei di Syd e di Richard?
Well, obviously I remember them both really well. There was some friction. I don't remember friction with Sid, really, ever. The guy went crazy. It was simple. But Rick and I had our differences when he was still in the band. But we did some really good work together. I always respected him as a musician. I don't know what else to say, really. We all live for such a short time. Life is so fleeting, and maybe sometimes if you wind the clock back, you would do things in a different way than what you did. Well, you never get a chance to ask dead people if they might have done things or would have preferred to do things different, or if there's anything that they would have changed about their lives or their relationships with their loved ones, or their relationships with people that they didn't know, or who they are, or anything philosophical. The world of human relationships and of one's philosophical or political beliefs is so complex and difficult and potentially moving, and there is such a huge number of choices that you make every day. I think what's important is to try to be aware of the fact that you can make choices, and that you can even make fundamental choices about the way that you behave and the way you are with other people. And also to completely understand that you're bound to get stuff wrong, that we all make mistakes, to err is human. I don't know what else really to say about Sid or Rick, you know.
Ok. Il suo rapporto con i concerti è stato altalenante. C'è stato un momento in cui lei non si trovava benissimo sopra il palco. C'è stato un lungo momento in cui non ha fatto concerti. Adesso da 10-15 anni lei non dico che viva sul palco, ma fa molti concerti. Ha fatto pace con la dimensione live. Sta per partire il nuovo tour. Quando è successo che ha fatto la pace con i concerti?
I'm not sure what year it was, but it was a long time ago. It was sometime in the early 90s. I hadn't done anything since Radio Chaos, and a few years later, Don Henley asked me to do a charity show for his Walden Woods project in LA in the Universal Amphitheatre, and I agreed to do it. And so I did 2 or 3 songs with his band backing me, and I took Andy Fairwell Low with me, and we did the show. And when I walked onto the stage and I can't remember what song I did first, but doing it, there was this big wave of kind of warmth from the audience who were there. They started to applaud, and I felt some kind of thing like love from them. And it was at the end of doing those few songs that I did that night. 2 things happened. One, Chris Wright from Chrysalis Records, he was there standing in the wings, and he came up to me afterwards and he said, "Have you got a record contract?" And I said, "Yeah, I have. I'm with Sony." And he went, "Oh." And I went, "Why?" He said, "I never realised you were a performer." And I said, "Yeah, I am." But so he said that, but then also I'd come off stage and I thought, you know what, I really like this. I felt very relaxed, but I felt I like this relationship that I'm having with this audience here tonight. So it sowed the seeds in my mind that one day I was going to go back on the road and dip my toe into that pond again, which I did within the flesh, you know, in 99 or whenever I went back on the road. Yeah. And since then, I just thought, well, that went well. We'll try it again and do something else and something else and something else. And so here we are.
Una volta,
yeah.
Una persona a lei vicino ha detto, credo che sia una recensione perfetta, un uomo come lui si arrende solo quando muore. Lo ha detto David Gilmour. Ha ragione?
What did he say, Dave?
Un uomo come lui si arrende solo quando muore.
Yeah. Did he?
Yeah, l'ha detto.
Okay. Well.
Beh, è bello, non è male.
Why not?
Non è entusiasta, non c'è. Are you not so happy?
I don't really care, you know. I mean, it's not something that engages me. You know, Dave and I, you know, we were in a band together for 20 years, and now we're not, and I never see him, and we have no relationship really, and whatever. So if he said that, he said it. I don't know why he would say that. I don't know why anybody would be interested, and you know, whatever. I don't. It's not. It's. I have so much engaging me now that is kind of irrelevant to me. You know, this is good. This work is good. I'm really happy that this record is going. I'm really looking forward to doing this show. The amount of work that is involved in putting this Us and Them tour on the road is enormous. It is impossible to do it in the time that is available, but we're doing it. I kind of like that. I like that pressure. It was always like that. It was impossible to put the wall shows on when I was in Pink Floyd. You know, it couldn't be done, but we did it. And I like the challenge of, maybe this is what Dave was saying, is, you know, you don't give up till you're dead. Well, I like having something to do. I don't like to be idle. Also, I like to express feelings. It is the bread of life for me to have a problem to solve, particularly a theatrical problem or a musical problem or an artistic problem. It's what makes me tick. It's what gives me the will to get up in the morning and have those 2 cups of espresso before I go, right, where is it? Show the, you know, let the dog see the rabbit. And I'm off. And I like work is what I like to work. And I'm really happy that I'm still fit and strong and healthy enough to go about my business. And if what Dave was saying is that I'll continue to do that till I drop dead, he's probably right. I probably will. So that's good.
Complimenti per questo disco.
Thank
non
you.
vedo l'ora di vedere il concerto
Thank
nuovo
you.
e grazie per tutto quello che ci ha dato e ci darà in questi anni.
Thank you.
Grazie.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, Roger.
Not at all. Thank you.